This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Riley Smith.
Well, good day and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Today is Thursday, February 23rd, 2023. We're so glad you could join us today. In today's episode of Ag Matters PM, I talk with Dave Krog. He is the CEO of Salin247. It's an autonomous machinery company based in Ames. And we had a conversation about their prototype of an autonomous planter that they've been working on. Lots of very cool details there. We also take a look at the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we're at the end of another trading day in the ag marketplace, and for a bit of analysis, we go to Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. First off, Kaden, I know it wasn't a great day in the grains, but what did we see going on there today?
Yeah, I think every headline tonight and tomorrow is going to be corn market down hard, closing somewhere around 13 cents lower today. Beans off 5, wheat up, a couple cents. But the story today is corn. We kind of started breaking support early in the day and just kept selling the whole day along. So, like you said, definitely not a great day in the grains.
Right. And what was the primary action behind that downward movement? I mean, is it just kind of crop conditions, or are we looking at conditions in South America? What was the primary force there?
In my opinion, the big driver here is kind of a mix of the funds and technical selling. In this case, like I said, we closed near the 200-day moving averages yesterday. We broke below them pretty early today after the 8:30 open, and it's not really a secret the funds are pretty long right now. And once those moving averages broke, they seem pretty content to start selling. And then, once you get it going, it's hard to get stopped once you get some stops, selling stops hit and whatnot. So, I think the big thing today, like I said, kind of funds, more technical side, because we didn't get a ton of fundamental information for old crop, anything new today.
And then at this time of year, are we really expecting a ton of, really elevated prices, or is this kind of just, an outside event that's just happening in the marketplace as the markets tend to do?
Yeah, it's last year we saw some volatility because we're coming up on the anniversary of Russia-Ukraine, when we were limit up overnight. But typically this is more of a quiet time of year until we start getting into March and getting into the prospective plantings and whatnot. We did get kind of a peek at new crop numbers from USDA today, just kind of their February outlook. But I don't think the trade's putting a ton of weight into those numbers, and that's more of a new crop picture. So I don't think that would affect old crop like we saw today. So like you said, pretty quiet, a little bit out of the realm of normalcy, I guess, if you will. Just a perfect storm of selling today.
So what would your advice then be for producers who are kind of, seeing the situation and maybe a little concerned about the prices moving like that? Is this a time to maybe just kind of sit back and let the storm go through the markets, or are there other strategies that they could take?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a good wake-up call for all producers, just kind of to re-go over your marketing plan, see where you're at sales-wise, see where you need to be at price-wise, and your profitability, and then kind of go from there. Have a conversation with your consultant, with your broker, figure out what the best thing to do for you is. In some cases, some guys are sold far enough ahead, they're okay to weather this storm. Other guys really haven't started selling much yet, so it may be a good time to get that going, at least get some put options under the market, sell some calls, whatever it may be. But at least look at yourself and then have a conversation and figure out what you need to do going forward.
And then what are we seeing on the other side of the marketplace in the livestock complex?
Yeah, the cattle market today is not the only thing green. Feeder cattle had an awesome day, up close to $2. Fat cattle were up early and kind of sold off. They still closed green, but not quite. Didn't hold the gains as well as feeder cattle did. Hogs had an inside day, not much going on there. The story really on the livestock side is feeder cattle today.
Right, and we've heard news just today, and we don't expect this to be in the markets yet, but there was mad cow disease spotted down in Brazil. Obviously not in the marketplace yet, not factored into our prices yet, but do we think if that becomes a big enough situation, we could see some maybe some upward movement there in our U.S. prices?
Yeah, I think you could, and that was kind of what I was trying to weigh today. Looking at the cattle market, how much of this is people just buying headlines after that mad cow disease? How much is going to stick around? Remains to be seen. But I think some of that we saw priced into the feeder move today. Even if it's just emotional buying, I think some of that can be attributed to that mad cow outbreak in Brazil.
All right, well, lots of great information today, Kaden. For those of our listeners who would like to get in touch and learn more from the folks at agmarket.net, how can they do that?
Yeah, go to our website. If you're not working with anybody right now and you have questions, it's easy to get hold of any one of us. Just go to agmarket.net and you can kind of get where you need to be from there. My line directly, if you need me, is 815-691-2672.
Well, thanks for visiting with us as always, Kaden, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
That again was Kaden Sweeney of agmarket.net. We'll go ahead and take a look at how those numbers closed. That's courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. March corn is down 13 3/4 at $6.60 1/4. December new crop down 6 1/2 at $5.85 1/2. March soybeans down 5 1/4 at $15.34 1/4. November new crop down 7 3/4 at $13.87 3/4. March soybean meal up 50 at $4.93.10. Soybean oil down 79 at $62.04. Chicago wheat up 1 3/4 at $7.38 1/4. Minneapolis spring wheat down 6 1/4 at $9.08 even. Kansas City hard red wheat down 14 1/4 at $8.61 3/4. March oats up 7 even at $3.71 1/4. On the Merc, April live cattle up 25 at $165.32. Feeder cattle up 125 at $189.22. April lean hogs down 35 at $86.20. April pork cutout down 37 at $93.17. February Class 3 milk up a penny at $17.89. And that's been a check of the markets here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with Salin247 CEO Dave Krog about their prototype autonomous planter. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Riley Smith. Recently, I had the chance to talk with Salin247 CEO Dave Krog about their prototype autonomous planter. Now, Salin247 is an Ames-based autonomous machinery company that is just looking to kind of advance that, especially on the sustainability side of things, to have those autonomous machines that can, help farmers with their operations, not necessarily replace the whole fleet, but just help them to be more efficient and sustainable in their practices. And we had a great chance to take a look at this autonomous planter, this prototype, and talk about what the journey has been so far, as well as some of the changes they've made and still need to make. Well, we're here at the Agribusiness Association of Iowa Conference at the Varied Industries Building at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. I'm talking with Dave Krog of Salin247. Salin247. And right behind us, we have an autonomous planter, a really cool endeavor that you guys have going on here. So first off, Dave, just tell us a little bit on kind of what led you guys to thinking of an autonomous planter and kind of how you've gotten to this point.
Yeah, Riley. So we started about 2 years ago. But I've actually been thinking about this for several years, probably 10 or 12 years, but it really came about, I grew up on a farm and kind of know all about things like soil compaction, and so it was really, the idea was to start addressing soil compaction, getting bigger equipment off the field and replacing it with smaller equipment, lighter weight equipment, but not giving up capacity to get work done, whether you're planting, spraying, whatever it is. So in order to do that, you might go smaller, lighter, but if you're going to not give up capacity, you need multiple machines. And so if you have multiple machines, it's actually important to be autonomous. So we're autonomous. So our machines are operated by software and guided by GPS. And but yeah, the idea is there's different benefits, but it started really to address soil compaction.
Right, obviously an ongoing project, still things that you guys are making changes to and figuring out how things work. So let's just think of this planter we have here right now. What are some of the things that are kind of stand out from this? Obviously, there's a lot that stands out from a regular planter, but some of the things that you would like to point out.
Yeah, so it's a prototype, first of all. So it's a 4-row, 30-inch row planter. We started with the planter, but we also want to do other things like spraying and side dressing and things like that. But we started with the planter. We intentionally started simple. So it's a 4-row, 30-inch rows. It's electric powered, and so we rely on electric motors for pretty much everything on the machine. And the energy comes from a battery. So we actually started out with a battery swapping approach. We've now gone to more of a hybrid approach where we have a generator that keeps the battery charged, and then we don't have to do battery swapping. But so yeah, it's designed in a modular way, so we can actually take this planter off, and then we can put on like a tank and a boom, and now we have a liquid system, autonomous liquid system. And that could be for pre-plant spraying, post-emerge spraying. One of the things that we really want to work on right now, this year, is side dressing nitrogen. So the idea is that with lightweight equipment, you could get in and get your side dressing done, whether it's wide drops or using coulters, no matter what the weather conditions, even in wet conditions, you could get in. So. But anyway, back to the planter. So we're not quite there yet in terms of all the components we want in place. We actually think a docking station is going to be very important. So a docking station would be used to autonomously refill the seed in the case of the planter, fertilizer and chemicals in the case of the liquid system. We're working on putting that together. We hope to have somewhat of a prototype proof of concept in the next few months on that. But as far as the planter, we use traditional row units. We actually have white row units here, part of the AGCO. We use a lot of precision planting technology. We use their 2020 monitor. We use their V-sets, their V-drive. So that the row units are pretty standard that you could get on any normal planter. Other things in terms of kind of uniqueness, we actually started with tracks. So if people have seen some of our videos from last year with the prototype in the field, we had 4 tracks. We actually had some trouble with the tracks in turning, and so this year we put wheels on the machine. We're going to go to wheels. But we learned a lot last year in terms of being in the field. So we're actually, the machine that we're building right now that'll be in the field this spring is a little bit different design, and it addresses some of the issues we had. But one of them was the tracks. We're a skid steer machine. We're going to go with skid steer again this year, but next year our plan is to actually have all-wheel steering. And once we get to all-wheel steering, we'll probably go back to the tracks, because the tracks do have quite a bit of value in wetter soil conditions and some of the things that we want to do in wetter soil conditions.
Well, of course, always good to have that option as well. And when it comes to especially the idea of it being autonomous, a lot of producers may be wondering of if it runs into issues out in the field, especially you're looking at spring, you're looking at muddy conditions, you never know what could happen there. How does the planter handle that? And I mean, are there points, whether it's implemented already or obviously if you have plans to in the future, how will it let the farmer know, even if they're not there, of potential issues coming up?
No, that's a great question. We actually, half of the farmers we talk to ask that question, so it's pretty important. And we recognize it's important. So I guess the first thing to say is, we're using the precision planting technology. So within that, they collect a lot of data in terms of planter performance and all that. We monitor that pretty closely, so we can watch that pretty closely. And if there's an issue, for example, if a planter unit stops planting, we know that right away, and it'll stop. But there are things, so when the first field we planted this past spring last year, we were watching it pretty close, but we got corn stalks caught in the closing wheels. So we saw it right away. Okay, stop, pull the corn stalks out, and then go again. But if the planter's off on its own all day, how do you know when corn stalks are caught? We don't have it in place yet, but our plan is to actually use cameras and computer vision. So the computer vision would watch for problems, basically, and it's not trivial to get it to do that, but there's some basic things that visually with a camera it can see, so to speak, and then see that there's a problem. And then if there is a problem, if it thinks there's a problem, it can stop, notify a farmer or somebody that there's a problem. Maybe at some point it could actually fix the problem, but the first step is recognizing the problem, and we plan to use cameras for that. And there may be other things as well, like radar and LiDAR and things like that, other sensors that could be used.
All right, and then obviously let's talk a little bit more. We've touched on this already, on how farmers will be able to use this on their operation. You mentioned being able to use these in fleets. Obviously, since we're looking at 4 rows instead of a much larger planter, just having the logistics of that to work. So ideally, when you guys get down the road where this thing is finally finished and you're able to get that into production, what would it look like on just a regular Iowa farm?
Yeah, good question. And it's probably going to look different on one farm versus another. So we've had, again, we're kind of going down the path of having multiple machines on any given farm. It's very scalable. A farmer might have 1, 2, or several. Some farmers have told us they like the idea of having several of these machines, but on different fields. So maybe 1 per field across 6 fields, for example. Maybe that doesn't work on every farm. Maybe you want 6 machines in the same field. There's actually some trade-offs in one of those approaches. But ultimately it's going to be multiple machines, whether it's in one field or multiple. So if there's multiple machines in the field, our vision is actually to use the computer to manage those machines. And there's a concept called machine learning, reinforcement learning, that can be used to manage the machines in the field. So that, for example, we want to have a docking station. So say you have 4 planters in the same field, and you also have a docking station that's, say, moving across the end. How do you manage all those things? It's very difficult to do by just what we would call hard coding in, navigate paths, path planning. But if you let the computer figure that out, what's the optimal way to plant this field with all these different agents, you basically, there's a training exercise that you use with machine learning in order to get things done optimally. So anyway, that's kind of broad vision of where we want to go. It has to be easy for the farmer. And as much as we can, we want to have an easy button. There's a lot of complexity behind the scenes, but we want to try to make it as easy as we can for the farmer.
All right, Dave, lots of great information. Is there anything else about this planter that you would like our listeners and viewers to know today?
Yeah, so we're based in Ames. If you're in central Iowa and you want to see close up what we're doing, we'd welcome farmers or whoever to come by our shop in Ames, or just contact us, email, phone. We love talking with farmers and people about what we're doing.
All right, Dave, thanks for taking the time to visit with us today, and good luck as you continue to develop this project.
All right, thanks, Riley.
That again was Salin247 CEO Dave Krog. As for right now, let's go ahead and take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, yesterday and last night, we saw a lot of ice kind of come down on this area, especially here in central Iowa. Now you get to the northern parts of the state, they got more of that snow-ice mix, that wintry mix. Even into Minnesota, you're looking at over a foot of snow. So we're glad that we're south of that, but the ice still isn't a great thing to see. It was very slippery last night and a little bit this morning, especially if Some areas hadn't taken care of those roads yet, but for the most part, the roads are looking pretty nice. Now, looking at tomorrow, we could see a slight chance for snow, but honestly, it doesn't look like things will change too terribly much. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, we're going to have a pretty cold end to this week. Today we have mostly cloudy skies with very icy conditions and cold temperatures, those highs ranging from the mid-teens to upper 20s. Tonight it'll be windy and very cold, those lows overnight ranging from about -7 to the low teens. Tomorrow will be cloudy with a chance for snow across most of the state, those highs ranging from about 11 to the upper 20s. And taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly cloudy with a chance for snow and a high around 11. Shenandoah will have a chance for snow and a high around 27. Des Moines, mostly sunny and a chance for snow, high around 24. Waterloo, partly sunny, chance for snow, high around 20. Albia, chance for snow, mostly cloudy, high around 27. And Clinton will see mostly cloudy skies with a high once again around 27. For more detailed forecasts in your part of the state, make sure to check in with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. That's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook, and that also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on social media at Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find all of our video content as well as previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to see when those videos go live. Don't forget as well our free Twice Daily Market podcast on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Riley Smith. On behalf of Mark Magnuson and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.